Welcome to the Mundane Universe, where we explore the ordinary lives of extraordinary worlds. Today, we'll dive into what life would be like for an Unobtanium Risk Assessor on Pandora in the Avatar universe. Welcome to the world of Pandora, where the pursuit of a rare resource, unobtainium, drives every decision, and every decision carries a cost. The Unobtanium Risk Assessor is the unseen architect of every mining operation, tasked with calculating the delicate balance between profit and devastation. Each day, the Risk Assessor faces a mountain of data, seismic readings, environmental conditions, Navi activity, and makes decisions that shape the future of the RDA's operations. These calculations are not just numbers on a screen, they are the difference between survival and catastrophe. Every report, every assessment is a risk. A new deposit discovered just miles from a Navi village presents a fortune for the RDA, but it's also a powder keg. The consequences of disturbing sacred lands could provoke violence from the Navi, destabilizing the region. The decision is clear, yet impossible. Extraction would mean billions for the corporation, but at what cost? The assessor is the gatekeeper of Pandora's future, and their decisions will ripple across the world and beyond. The role of the risk assessor is part engineer, part diplomat, and part strategist. Every day, they juggle multiple tasks, each one more complicated than the last, as they work to balance the demands of corporate executives, security concerns, and the fragile ecosystem of Pandora. First, they analyze geological data. Always the first step. High-yield deposits of unobtainium are the gold mine the RDA has dreamed of for years, but the risk assessor knows that any error in judgment could spell disaster. Seismic readings are never straightforward. The ground here is unpredictable, a planet still very much alive. The risk assessor must constantly track fluctuations in tectonic plates, making sure to avoid any areas where an unstable deposit could trigger an avalanche, or worse, a full-blown collapse of a mining site, and with it, the destruction of all of its resources. Next, they factor in the environmental and societal impacts, an ever-growing concern. Pandora's natural environment is beautiful but volatile, and the Navi, the indigenous people, won't tolerate destruction of their sacred lands. The risk assessor knows that to avoid catastrophe, they must consider both the ecological cost and the cultural fallout. They rely heavily on drones and surveillance systems to track Navi movements, but even the most advanced technology can't fully predict the Navi's actions. They are intelligent, resourceful, and fiercely protective of their world. A single misstep could spark violent retaliation, leading to an international and interworldly crisis. With the Navi in mind, the risk assessor works with the security teams to ensure that all bases are covered. The team needs constant updates about potential threats, whether it's from the environment or the Navi's guerrilla tactics. They prepare contingency plans, detailing when to deploy forces and how to protect the operation with minimal conflict. But that's only part of the job. The risk assessor must also liaise with corporate executives, ensuring they're informed of the potential risk while keeping their more aggressive suggestions in check. And so, the cycle repeats. Every report, every decision comes with its own risk. The assessor drafts exhaustive reports on all potential outcomes, from the smallest fluctuations in seismic data to the worst-case scenarios involving Navi uprisings or environmental disasters. Their reports will go on to guide the deployment of troops, the approval of resources, and the ultimate direction of the operation. Amid the cold, high-stakes world of risk assessments and corporate warfare, the risk assessor finds rare moments of solace. The alien beauty of Pandora contrasts sharply with the sterile world inside the compound. Yet, in these fleeting moments, they reflect on the cost of their work, the lives they are shaping, and the lives they are destroying. For the risk assessor, the quiet moments outside the compound are fleeting. The planet's natural beauty is impossible to ignore, yet it only serves to heighten the weight of their responsibilities. As they walk through the jungle, the colors of the bioluminescent trees cast long shadows, and the hum of alien wildlife fills the air, creating an almost surreal contrast to the sterile walls of their office and the constant buzz of the compound. These walks are a way to clear their mind, a brief escape from the crushing reality that surrounds them. When they're alone, the risk assessor reflects on what they've left behind. Earth, family, a life that seems increasingly distant. The familiar comforts of home, the warmth of human connection are hard to remember when they are surrounded by alien skies and distant stars. They often find themselves returning to Earth's natural sounds, playing recordings of oceans, birdsong, and rain. It's as if they're trying to hold on to something familiar in an environment that has become increasingly foreign. In these moments of relaxation, there is no escaping the deepening tension. The assessor is caught between two worlds, one they're committed to and the other that they're rapidly drifting away from. Pandora, with all its beauty and danger, is now their reality, but Earth is the anchor that keeps them grounded. They find themselves torn between the cold, corporate demands of their job and the personal responsibility they feel for the planet they are helping to exploit. There are no easy answers, no peaceful resolutions to the conflict brewing in their heart. When they leave the confines of their quarters and take short walks through the compound, the risk assessor often looks out at Pandora, both fascinated and fearful of what the future holds. The landscape is striking, a world full of vibrant, alien life, but it is also a ticking clock. The more time they spend here, the more their sense of connection to Earth fades. The real world feels further away, lost in the swirl of data and decisions, the pressure of corporate expectations and military action that loom over every moment. But there are rare moments when the assessor finds some semblance of comfort in the fleeting connections they share with others. They'll share a drink with a colleague after a long day or offer a word of support to a soldier heading out on a dangerous mission. These small interactions, though brief, provide a sense of normalcy in a world that feels increasingly alien. Even though they remain distant from most people, the risk assessor knows that bonds, however fleeting, are essential for their sanity. The risk assessor's downtime is a fragile thing. It offers a brief reprieve from the crushing weight of their decisions, but it never truly eases the pressure. Pandora's beauty and danger continue to loom over every moment, and Earth's sounds are a distant echo, offering only temporary comfort. In their heart, the risk assessor knows that they are becoming increasingly isolated, not just from the people around them, but from the very purpose that brought them here. The world is shifting, and so are they. The risk assessor's role places them at the crossroads of conflicting agendas. Aaron, the head of security, demands swift action, more troops, more machinery. He believes that with enough force, the Na'vi will fall into line or they'll be eradicated. On the other hand, Irene, the geologist, insists on a slower, more methodical approach. She fears the environmental damage could be catastrophic and the Na'vi, though misunderstood, will resist with force. But the true pressure on the risk assessor doesn't come from the field, it comes from above. Corporate executives, far removed from the realities of Pandora, demand results with no regard for the consequences. Profit margins, quotas, and share prices dictate the course of action. The assessor walks a fine line between these competing interests. One misstep could trigger irreversible consequences, not only for the mission, but also for their own conscience. Aaron's approach is simple. Force solves problems. To him, the Na'vi are an obstacle that can be crushed if necessary. His militaristic mindset sees only one way to complete the operation: swift and brutal. The Na'vi, to him, are not indigenous beings with a culture to protect, but a nuisance to be cleared out of the way. Aaron believes that the sooner the mining operation begins, the sooner they'll secure Pandora's riches, and the sooner the Na'vi will fall in line or be erased. In his mind, there is no room for hesitation. Irene, however, offers a much different perspective. She understands the environmental and ecological costs of the mission far better than anyone in the room. The natural beauty of Pandora, while breathtaking, is fragile. Her voice is one of caution, and while she doesn't necessarily sympathize with the Na'vi, she urges respect for the planet and its delicate ecosystem. To Irene, the Na'vi aren't just a threat, they are a part of the very land she's trying to preserve. Any damage done to them could have catastrophic consequences that reach far beyond what the RDA anticipates, and frankly, it could also have economic impacts and second-order effects that they can't understand. As the risk assessor reviews the data provided by these experts, they feel the weight of these opposing views. Aaron's pressure for immediate action clashes with Irene's call for caution, and somewhere between them, the assessor must decide. It's not just the security of the operation that's at stake, but the future of Pandora itself. There's no easy answer, and the risk assessor feels the tightrope they walk grow thinner with each passing day. The truth, however, lies not in the field, but in the cold, sterile boardrooms of the RDA. The executives, safely removed from the complexities of Pandora's fragile reality, demand results. They only see the bottom line. How much unobtainium can be extracted? How fast and with what profits? The environmental impact? The Na'vi resistance? To the executives, these are mere distractions, unimportant compared to the resource they're after. There is little care for the broader consequences, only for the data that shows yield and productivity. For them, the future of Pandora is a series of numbers and percentages that must be optimized. The cost of doing business is irrelevant so long as profits are ensured. In meeting rooms, corporate pressure mounts. The executives' words are sharp, their tone impatient. The risk assessor is reminded daily that their job is not to consider the human or ecological toll of the operation, but to make it seem manageable and profitable. Each report submitted is scrutinized, each risk calculation questioned, and the more cautious the assessor becomes, the more the executives push for expedience. They demand action, results, whether the planet can bear it or not. The strain begins to show. The risk assessor feels torn between the immediate demands of Aaron's militaristic strategy, Irene's environmental caution, and the cold, unyielding demands of the corporate brass. No matter how well they present the data, no matter how carefully they weigh the risk, each faction has their own agenda. The Na'vi are not simply an obstacle to Aaron, they are a symbol of everything the risk assessor has come to fear. The more they consider Irene's position, the more they understand the fragility of Pandora's ecosystem, and the deeper their doubts about the RDA's approach grow. But the pressure from the executives to deliver results is ever present, and the cost of failure would be catastrophic, not just for the mission, but for the risk assessor's career and future. As the days pass, the risk assessor begins to question if they are on the right side of history. Are they working to protect Pandora or simply extract its resources? Are they complicit in the destruction of a world and, by extension, the indigenous people who inhabit it? The more time they spend with the data, the more they feel disconnected from the world around them. Their actions have consequences, dire ones, but they're too far down the path to stop now. If they don't comply with the executives, they risk losing everything. But if they go along with Aaron and the military strategy, they risk losing their soul. The tension within the team is palpable. The risk assessor feels the pressure to please both Aaron and Irene, but the reality is that one of them will never get what they want. And it may be the Na'vi, the land, and the future of Pandora that suffers as a result. The risk assessor knows that no matter which side they choose, Pandora will never be the same again. Their decision will not just shape the future of the mining operation, it will shape the very soul of the planet itself. And so, the risk assessor's struggle continues. Every day is filled with calculations, meetings, and reports, but each one brings them closer to an inescapable truth. Their decisions, no matter how well calculated, will never be free of guilt. The RDA demands results, Aaron demands swift action, Irene demands caution, and the Na'vi demand respect. In the end, there may be no way to satisfy everyone. The assessor stands at the threshold of a future that is as uncertain as the world they've come to know. Every choice they make shapes the destiny of Pandora, its people, its wildlife, its very ecosystem. But in the end, the question remains, can one person truly balance the scales of profit and preservation? Some decisions are made with the mind, others are made with the heart. But on Pandora, the stakes are too high for anything but absolute certainty. Yet, in the world of the Unobtanium Risk Assessor, certainty is the most elusive thing of all. Thank you for taking a journey through the Mundane Universe with us today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments. What worlds do you want to see us explore next? See you next time as we explore more extraordinary worlds. Note the commentary in this video is inspired by Avatar and is not affiliated with or endorsed by its owners. All rights to Avatar belong to their respective owners. Also of note, some visuals in this video were created with the assistance of AI tools.